Hey guys, Carrix here with another review. This time I'll bring the Gattai Reijyu Deluxe Iguana Ghostriker from Kamen Ghost. This is a set of two vehicles that can combine together to form a ghost beast and is compatible with the Ghost Change series. So this set consists of two things, the Machine Ghostriker and Captain Ghost. So let's get started. First we have Machine Ghostriker, Kamen Ghost Rider Machine. So, after Drive having his car, we now go back to having a bike as the rider machine. In this case, a dirt bike. And this one, once again, does fit in with the general color scheme and style of Kamen Ghost. Mainly being black. Got some metallic blue, which mimics the clear blue parts on Ghost's gear. And an orange seat, mimicking the grips. Style-wise, this is modeled after a skeletal horse, with the head at the front and the tail at the back. Has some nice green eyes. You can even see a horn on it, styled the same way as Kamen Ghosts. Now one thing that is a little bit interesting is the way it's molded is that though the whole head is just this part up here, with the supposed mouth being right about here, because of the little upper part to cover the front wheel, it does look like it kind of has an even bigger mouth, which is definitely something interesting, but unintentional. Gives it a bit more of a monstrous look. Got some standard handlebars, two wheels, nice details for the chain, black cowling going all around the middle part, and if we move it forward, you can see the molded on engine. Of course, down here we have a kickstand which can be moved back for rolling it around. Of course, with this being a bike, you can have Kamen Ghost right on top of it, so bring in the Ghost Change figure. You can do that, though because of the cowling in the middle, it's a little bit tricky as it's not that thick in the show, and is like that for the sake of the transformation and combination. So it does make putting Ghost on the bike a little bit tricky, but it's still manageable. Just gotta get him on there, have him grip the handlebars. Then position his legs. Oh yeah, because of this he can't really have his legs right up against the sides. And what it says for you to do is kind of have it like this, to where his legs are very much spread out and around the cowling. Though, even with the feet turned a bit forward, it looks a little bit awkward. So I instead like to just kind of bring his legs back like this, to where they're closer to the back wheel. So you can have him riding something like that. Again, this is just a bit tricky because of the design. Though one option that is not exactly canonical, but does help out a little bit more, is to basically flip this forward a little bit over the wheel, and then have him in a more proper riding position. Again, it doesn't really match the show, but it, on the whole, looks a little bit better. Something like that. And you can still have him roll around. Not perfect, but for what it's worth, it works. The second part is Captain Ghost, Kamen Ghost's support vehicle. So, as indicated by the name and the appearance, this is a ghost ship. Done up in black and this interesting metallic green, with some silver and red here and there. So as far as ghost ship design goes, this is kind of interesting because it, not just being a kind of haunted wreck of a ship, this almost looks like it's possessed by the spirit of a beast of some kind. You can see down here, has a face with two eyes and a mouth going across the hull, which are actually pretty much made from kind of little holes in the hull. It also has these monstrous arms sticking out the side. Have the bow and the front. Some nice details for the body of the ship. Some details inside kind of giving us a little bit of a preview for what the combined mode looks like. And then the two tattered sails, which can be rotated on some hinges, and also bent forward and back. It has a bit of articulation in that you can rotate the arms forward and back. It actually stands thanks to this third part down here. The one thing I think is kind of a shame is that there wasn't any kind of included stand to make it look like it was hovering, as that is what it's seen doing in the show. Unfortunately, besides just kind of being set down in place and being posed a little bit, there's nothing else it really does. So without further ado, let's move on to transformation. So first, to prepare Captain Ghost, you're going to want to take it, fold down these two parts on the sides to become back legs, fold down the two sails, and the back sail will kind of peg into the front sail. Then take the entire top of the hull and unclip it and move it all the way to the back. And reach in and pull out the iguana's head and fold down the arms or the front legs, and it's ready. Then take the Ghostriker, fold in the kickstand, and fold up the cowling so it covers up the horse head. And take it and kind of put it into the main body, so that the front wheel goes through this head, around through this hole here in front, and the rear wheel sits in back. Then peg it into place. Then, repositioning Kamen Ghost. There we have the Iguana Ghostriker. So this is definitely a very interesting and at the same time strange combination. Having the horse-like bike and the ghost ship combine to form a large iguana. Though it definitely does have an interesting combination, and it definitely does look pretty good together, and they look like pretty cohesive as far as the combination goes. See the iguana head here. It has some horns, painted nose, nice eyes, had some scaly textures to it. Mouth here with some nice painted teeth. Front wheel comes out below the jaw. You have the back legs here, which don't really have any articulation. They do match up with the front legs. You see that the back part of the Ghostriker matches up with the fin here on the back. You can even see a tail running through this entire part, with the bow being the tip. And so here, it's got the same amount of articulation. So you can pose it a little bit. And in this case, it's easier for Ghost to ride it because you don't have that cowling in the way. The one interesting thing here is that you've also got the rear wheel sticking out of the bottom. So if you wanted to, you could roll it around a little bit just by moving the back legs out of the way, up the arms. But you just want to make sure that it doesn't pop out of place. Though it might look a little bit silly doing so. But at least a little bit of playability. Additionally, if you want to, you can take one hand off the handlebars and have him hold his gun saber. So something like that. And so there we go. Overall, the Iguana Ghostriker is an interesting set, but also kind of a strange one. Within the show, there's not too much context for why Captain Ghost exists and why it can combine with the Ghostriker. It's just introduced and they combine somehow. And there isn't really given an explanation for why it turns into an iguana, and from what I can tell, there isn't much connection between iguanas and the supernatural stuff like ghosts and whatnot. The most I can tell is that this is supposed to be an homage to Counter Wizard's Machine Winger and the Wizard Dragon, which could combine together to form the Winger Wizard Dragon. And that is nice and all, but it just doesn't work quite as well here, because with the Wizard Dragon, it was already a dragon on its own and a bike, and so you could have both that, him riding the bike, him riding the dragon, but also then had the third mode with the giant dragon foot, which added a little bit more. And unfortunately, this doesn't really have that. You just have the bike, the ghost ship, and then the combination. And the combination is interesting, but it doesn't really do too much, besides being just another thing that Ghost can ride. So, overall, I'd say that I can only recommend this if you really are interested in this and you want to actually get a toy Iguana Ghostriker for yourself that you can have your figures ride on. Otherwise, I'd say probably pass on this and wait for the SH Video Arts version of the Machine Ghostriker, which will probably be better for your figures to ride on. So, next time I'll be reviewing LBX Hakayo. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, or share it, and check me out on Facebook at facebook.com/krx50. And for now, this is KRX50, riding off.